Laser levels are an essential tool for any DIYer. They'll save you time and increase the accuracy of your work. However, there are a lot on the market and it's difficult to know what to buy. You don't want to make the same mistake I did, end up buying multiple lasers or wasting your money or buying the wrong thing. When I first saw laser levels, I just went for the cheapest one I could find, the budget option, just going for this one, which was the cheapest that I could find on Amazon when I was looking at the time. So as you can see, it's a red laser. It's not all that bright when you're using it, but with the lights off, it did do the job okay. However, I did fly through batteries using it though. I found that with this just turned on constantly, within 3-4 hours, it would drain 2 AA batteries. And if you're doing a job like tiling, where you're just having this set up for a while, turned on constantly, you will just fly through the batteries. As you can see here, this laser projects in 2 planes, X and Y, and it does that just straight ahead. So it projects outwards and it does a little bit upwards, but doesn't do directly above nor directly below. So it's very much, the brightest point is straight ahead, and then it's much more faded the further away you get from the centre. The way these work is they have a pendulum in there which actually has the laser source on it, or the mirror, and that's hanging, and it will auto correct anything out of level to about 3 degrees, so whether you're pointed out or not. And this one actually flashes if you're more than 3 degrees because it can't correct more than 3 degrees, but as soon as you start to go flat, actually it stops flashing. And the same if I tilt backwards, it starts flashing again because it's more than it can deal with. So as long as it's roughly level, this will give you perfect level with those additional 3 degrees. And then because these are quite fragile, these pendulums, you have this lock on the side which essentially locks it off, so now the pendulum isn't moving, and it just means that if you want to do something that isn't level, like projecting on a ceiling, you just want a constant line, or you want to tilt the laser so you can, I don't know, aim down a staircase or something like that, this just enables you to do that. So whenever you're not using it, you have to lock this down to stop that pendulum moving around, because if you drop it or have that pendulum being knocked around regularly, it's very likely it will just get knocked out of level or damaged, and this thing won't correctly level anymore. Overall though, these red lasers that just project in 2 planes straight ahead aren't that great really. They're cheap, but I certainly wouldn't recommend buying one, and I do regret buying this one. It isn't very bright, so you find yourself having to turn the lights off when working in the dark. It doesn't work outside, it's just not bright enough, and you just fly through the batteries as well. My next purchase was this green laser here. I think you can see on the camera it's quite a bit brighter, the green. Still, same idea, it's over 2 planes. The reason I bought this one was because it's green and because it's brighter, and still works in all the same way. Very similar housing, you've got the lock feature, the pendulum, corrects within 3 degrees. Same, you've got horizontal and vertical, straight ahead, and it flashes if you're outside of level. So there you can see it's not flashing now because we're outside of level, but if I just tilt it, it starts flashing because we're out of level. This one, where it is quite a bit brighter, I did manage to use it outside a few times, and you can see it. It's much brighter in rooms, so even if you haven't got the lights off, it does still work well. Again though, like the red one, this thing just eats batteries and just flies through those AA's. So if you're using it for something like tiling or any job where you've got it on for long periods of time, 3 or 4 hours, and it will just drain the batteries. So totally inappropriate for any professional or any sustained use other than just short periods. Finally, a company sent me this one recently, which is actually a 360 laser. I'd seen these on the market for a while and had been toying with buying one, but they start about £80, so I'd been resisting it because I'd previously bought those other 2 for almost that by the time you count in the batteries. But this one was free, and I think it's pretty cool, so I thought I'd feature it in the video. Not sponsored, not paid, but they did provide this to me for free. This one is a rechargeable battery, so it's a 4 amp hour battery. Well worth getting a rechargeable one. As I said, you just fly through the batteries otherwise, and this one can be used plugged in as well, but you can use it plugged in, which is great. So even if you are running out of battery, you can just plug it in via USB. And the benefit of this doing 360 is, well, firstly it's much brighter, but also 360 means you can go directly above, directly below, and if you're working in a room, say you're setting out sockets or something like that, or tiling, and you want everything at the same level throughout the room, you can just have the 360 on, and it just goes all the way around. Now this one works on a pendulum again like the others, and this one makes an alarm and flashes when you go out of level, but then when you come back to level within those 3 degrees any direction, it fixes it. And you can turn it off so you can have just the horizontal or just the vertical. So that's just the horizontal, and now I can have the vertical too. This slightly more expensive one as well also is much brighter, and across big rooms you can see it brightly in broad daylight. Works great outside as well. The alarm is a little bit annoying, so I'll just lock it off. If you're thinking about buying a laser level, they are an essential tool for any DIYer, but absolutely, if you can afford it, get a 360 one. So much better. Rechargeable battery, so much brighter. Stops you flying through the double A's. Other than that, the features are very similar, but absolutely recommend. I mean, this particular one I will link in the description below. If I'd have realised how much better these were, the 360 version in the first place, I would have just bought this rather than buying two cheap versions first and being dissatisfied with those. There's a few useful laser tips and accessories that I've come across over the years. Some are essential and well worth having, others are a waste of money or potentially not really worth your money. I'd always had the problem where I'd be stacking a laser on top of bits of wood or packers or anything like that just to get it to the exact right height to, say, line up with a course of tiles or bricks or something. And I thought there must be a tool out there that does fine adjustments, and I bought this, I think it was about £30 on Amazon. It just enables you to go very slightly up and down, very gently, slight rotation backwards and forwards. You can clamp it to tables and things. It's also magnetic, or it can be put through a screw hook on, or can just sit flat on a table, or can go into a tripod on the bottom. Just very versatile, and really means you get that fine adjustment with the laser, which is so useful when you're trying to line up with existing stuff. Or tiling is the one that, to be honest, I've used this the most for, when you want to get those courses exactly level all round a room, rather than just faffing around with packers and things like that. And then also you inevitably end up kicking or knocking over the whatever stack of wood you've got your laser on, whereas this, even if you knock it over, you can just stand it back up and it will all be at the same height already. Or if not, it's very easy to readjust it to where you were. Again, not sponsored, I bought this myself, just highly recommend. Really useful tool, saved me a lot of time and really helped the accuracy of my work. The other trick is using the included magnetic level to stick onto a plaster bead in your house. So if you've got any external miters, you have steel plaster bead under there most likely that this will stick onto. Just means you can mount your laser easily in the room, well out of the way, at any height usually. However, you have just got to be careful to not damage the paintwork. If you end up moving this around, obviously you can't just slide it up and down because you're likely to scratch the paint. If you just gently place it and move it around, it works great. Now finally, this big Bosch pole. This is a laser pole, and I bought this on a Prime Day deal. I think it was about £30, but I think they're quite a bit more than that usually. And this is the accessory I probably use the least, but still very useful when you do need it. So rather than mounting your laser on a tripod in the middle of a room where you can kick the tripod over or it's likely to get knocked, what you can have is a pole that goes straight up to the ceiling and then the laser mounts on it. So it just comes in a few pieces. So now I've just put this up, stuck it to the ceiling very easy. It's just, because it's spring loaded, you can just push it up against the ceiling, get it straight, and then you've got your pole. It does jiggle a little bit, but much less than any tripod, because it's just a vertical pole, so you're not going to hit your legs on it. And then just comes with this clamp and the laser stand. So then you just stick this clamp onto the laser, so then you just stick this clamp onto the pole at whatever height you require. The pole actually does have a scale down the side, as you can see here, so it enables you to make fine adjustments. And then it's got a screw attachment which you just screw your laser onto. So now I've just turned on the horizontal and vertical. And if you're doing any jobs like sockets around a room or tiling again, where you don't want to be knocking over a tripod, this just makes things so much easier, this pole. But again, it's the one I use least, so not essential unless you've got a job that you're definitely going to use it for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.